Welcome to another video, and today we are going to design a header part with the background photo as you've seen here, text, call to action button, the menu on top, and all of this is going to be responsive. And we take the whole idea from Shopify templates, so you can see step by step also with the other videos that are going to come on how you can create your own template. Also, we're going to use Tailwind CSS that will help us speed up the process and make everything we do in a way more consistent way. So I'd like you to also follow along with the tutorial and do everything step by step, so you can not get lost on the process. And of course, let me know below with a comment about your result and how it was. I included in the description, of course, the CodePen.io link that I'm going to use because we're going to do this on CodePen.io online, so you can also have the code later and also learn about one more tool that we can use at any time to code. So let's go into the tutorial and see you there. We are going to start from CodePen. I already started 1 second ago. I added the section here. So the first thing you do is you go on the settings. On this window you go down, and here you type Tailwind CSS and you select Tailwind CSS. I had it already, so I will remove it. You should have it only once, and then save and close and wait 1 second. It's gonna be fine. So first thing, I would like to start with a section, and I will add it a class. Could be background black. This way the background should change to black. But we don't have a height on our section, so we have to give it a height. For example, hide screen. And this means that our section now has a height which is the same height of the screen. The CSS will be 100 V8, which means 100 viewport height. But writing the class of Tailwind, we don't have to do this. It will do this for us. Another thing I would like to do is I would like to add a background image for our header, like it's here. We'll start with a static image now, and we're going to do the slider afterwards. So the first thing is create a div. Let's create a div, style, and I add style here because we want to add the URL of the image, class, and then we close our div. The classes for this one could be absolute. Actually, we're gonna do the classes in a second. First, I'm gonna paste the image inside. So what I'm going to do here is I have to put some background image and then URL, and I'm gonna paste the image link I have here. You can copy paste the link from me later from my CodePen link, or you can use your own. So wait a second and we'll see the change right here. We cannot see the change because I have absolute probably. Let me save, don't forget to save. And also you can give a name here like Shopify header Tailwind CSS, for example. And let's go back to the classes now. So we have absolute. We're gonna give a full width to our div and a full height. This is 100% and 100%. This is by Tailwind CSS. And now you see that there is this image I added from a bakery shop. I want to have the background size to cover so we can see it way better. Nice. And then I'm going to add background no repeat in case the background wants to repeat, and center it. So with background center, it should be centered now. Also, we can add an opacity here. That's why we have it as a div. That's gonna make it transparent and darker because the background color is black, as we set it here. So this div has opacity 40 and this section is black. This means that our background is gonna be darker, and we can put text on top and make it look brighter. So here I will also add some z-index 0, because I want to go on back and not interrupt any of our items that we're going to add right now. So another thing we're going to do now is add the header up here, which is the logo, the menu, and the icons. So first thing to start with, let's see if we can add a div and make it, let me close div and make it flex. Div class flex, and inside this div I will add the menu button. Let's close the button, and if we see the button again, actually this one is the desktop size. I will also go to the mobile because this is like the smaller size we're going to work with. So we're going to start from here and have even smaller actually, because we start mobile first. Let's go on mobile. Okay, this is what we're going to start with. And so we need to do this burger menu first. In order for you to see it almost the same, we can also make this smaller like this. And we cannot do JS now, we don't need CSS for now. We can just focus on this part. Actually, what I do, I always add a star CSS like this, with padding 0, margin 0, and box sizing border box. And we can add some fonts here later, but for now it's fine. Now for the button, we actually add some span inside, because we want to make these 3 lines, and we're gonna make it with HTML and CSS. So this span, it could be full width, could have a height of 0.5 and a background white. You're not able to see anything at the moment because this width doesn't apply to anywhere. That's why we're going to add also to our button flex, and we're going to give it some width and some height, maybe like this, and of course appearance none, in order to remove the appearance on mobile devices like iOS or Android. And this way you can see that we already have white line up here. We need 3 lines to make the burger menu. They stack next to each other or on top of each other. So we have to solve this. In order to solve this, we're going to do the flex column for a flex box. We're gonna give them also a justify between. This is gonna separate them and make exactly what we need as a burger menu. Why does this work? Because we have 3 span inside that are just lines that have very small height and a width of 100%. They have background white, and of course the flexbox. Of course, flexbox move them flex column with flex column one under the other, and we justify between. We just justify the space between them equally. So let's go back to flex up here. This is our header at the moment, and we can give it some padding top of 7 just to keep some padding from the top, and of course padding left and right to 5, and set it to relative because we also have an absolute background here. When you have an absolute background, you should have z index 0 most of the time, because we want this to be on the back and we want the other elements to be on the front. To achieve this, you should also have a relative position on the items you want to have in the front. You can also add z index 1 or z index 2 or something like this here, but for now it's not necessary. So after we have the menu button, let's go and add the logo. It's gonna be a bakery for us. We don't have to do exactly the same with the template. We can do a bit different. I'm going to also give this logo a class, and we can use CSS later. But for now, I'm gonna keep also the classes of Tailwind to give the design I want. Can also put Tagging widest. Tagging, we're gonna make the letters a bit more spread, and it's setting the letter spacing in CSS. And last thing, we have to add the icons. Before that, I could also go back to our flexbox. This is the header, and give it items sender, so they're aligned in one line, sender line. And also do the justify between. I have this down here. I can copy paste and have it like this. So as you've seen, we're really close. We can also change the font. So let's change the font really quick, and we'll actually go to CSS settings again. We go down here. We want to add the font from Google Fonts. Let's see how we can take the font from Google Fonts. Actually, you can Google fonts.google.com, and then I'm using the let me see what font I'm using. I think I'm using Railway, and yes, I'm using Bebas. Anyway, so this is the font I'm using for the logo, and I want only one style from this font at the moment, which is probably the actually, to be honest, this font has only one style, so just select the style. I will give you some code. You don't need the whole thing, you just need the href code. Copy this, go back to your code pane and paste it here, and save and close. If you go back down here, you have font family provided by the Google Fonts website. You can also copy this, go back here, add the class logo that we already have up here, and do font family Bebas Noe, and the cursive is the default for the browser. So you see that the logo is way closer to what we've seen here on the template, and we're going to continue with the icons on the side. Let's add a div. Again, we can make this div flex, and inside we will add the button. The button will be, for example, the first button of the search and the cart button. And one necessary class here, it's appearance none. This was a mistake. Let's go back and fix the appearance none. Appearance none here too. And we can also make more buttons. 2, 3. Actually, for now we only have 2 buttons, so we don't have to create 3. And we add the SVG. You can get my SVGs from the SVGs actually from my code, or you can go into the template and get them from the template. I advise you when you create something on your own to use your own SVGs. For now, we just try to replicate it, so that's why we copy paste. But it's just for training and educational purposes. Save the SVG, wait for it to show up. Okay, it's here. Let's also save here. And let's get another SVG. I will post it below, right inside the button. Wait a second. We have 2. Nice. I'd like to put some space between them. So here we can have some margin right 6, for example. I'm gonna give us some space here. And it will be nice to have them color white. So we can go to our flex up here and give a color white to the whole div. This is going to transfer the color to all of the elements. So as you can see now, we're in a way better state that we just were in the beginning. And we save it, of course, don't forget to save. And you can see it's almost the same as the template we've seen. One thing we could fix is the position of logo, because this width and this width are a bit different and the logo is not centered. So you can transfer it, for example, with transform. But for now, oops, I messed up here. Let me close the preview. For now, you don't have to do this. We can continue on the text below. Let's go below. We need to just delete some spaces. And this is our header. This is our section, this is the background. And we actually need to put some text. Let's start with a div. And the div could have an h1. Let's say fresh bread made with love. To advertise our bakery place, we're going to add also a p tag, which is the other text underneath. We deliver in less than 30 minutes. You probably cannot see the text here yet, but we're going to fix this. And a button in the end. That's going to be the shop now button. You can style the button right after. So first things first, we want this to be relative, because now it looks like the background is on top. Yes, the text is here. We are going to give it relative, probably a color white. I'm gonna give the color white individually to each one of them. Text white is the color white. You can also copy it, paste it down here. I'm gonna change a bit the font sizes. This could be text for Excel and have some margin bottom. And this one could be text louds and also have some margin bottom. In order to style the button, we can give it a border of 2 and make it white. Smaller text, we don't need big text here, and make it white also, the text. Give it some padding. This is up and down, and this is left and right, maybe more left and right. And I'd like to make a more light font here, so we're going to put font light for this. Small change, but we're going to change the font right after. Because we want to change the font, I'm going to add a class, banner text. Don't forget to save. And we could actually give flex and flex column on this one with items center, justify, center again. And one thing I'd like to change here is how the content is aligned on the page, because you can see for this one it's in the middle. So for us to align it, I'd like to use the banner text class, come down here and give it a top of 30 VH, view per height, and this is gonna put it in the middle of the screen, which is exactly what we wanted. Some changes we could do here to make it even better is actually make it absolute, give it a left 0 and a right 0, give margin auto, so it will go in the middle when we add the width, which will be 50%. And of course text align center, save to center the text. As you can see, we are getting closer and closer to the original. What I'm gonna change here is the font. I actually use with the same way we found this font, I use Railway. I'm gonna paste the font in here, take the link from Google, you can paste the font in here. As you can see, it's also the previous font we have plus the Railway with different weights. Save and close, and we're gonna give this font to our body, so we can add body, font family, Railway, sans serif for default. Save it. And you can see the font is way better and way closer to the original one. We can make some small tweaks for larger size screens. For example, we can say, if you see here, when you have a big larger screen, you have also this icon. We can also add it here and use Tailwind's CSS methods to show and hide it. We need one more button. I will copy this and close again. Let's fix a bit the alignment. Okay. And inside I'm gonna paste the SVG I have here, so you can also use it later. Let me find the SVG code for you to use. So this one is the SVG. You can also align this. And as you can see, all of them actually are here at the moment. But I'd like to have this hidden. And the reason we have this hidden is because, of course, it's not on the small size, but when the screen is larger and the screen size is larger, I'd like this to show up. So we're going to use MD, which is how Tailwind is using responsive sizes and responsive layouts. So when the layout is bigger than what Tailwind set up as MD, you can also edit this later. We're gonna make this element block, display block. So from display none is going to display block when it's a specific resolution, no, after a specific resolution. So when I have a larger screen, you can see the icon here. When I have smaller, the icon disappears. We can do the same with menu, actually, the menu text, because if you see here, there is this menu text. Let's quickly try this. In order to do this, we can also have a div around our button. Or actually, no, menu will be clickable, so we don't need a div. We need to have a div in here though, and this is gonna change our layout a bit. We're going to give the classes we have on top those classes, except the appearance. We still need to flex here. Give it a second to reload. Okay, it's going well. And then let's add a div with a text, which is menu, and see how it works here. Okay, menu is here. Class for the menu and text white, and maybe margin left a bit, like 4. Let's see how it goes. Okay, could be a bit smaller, so text SM may work, and this, let's make it 3. Yes, it's quite close. Could be a bit larger size, but it's fine for now. So we want to show this only when there is MD size. We're gonna do the same. Actually, what we can do here is have it with opacity of 0, so it doesn't show up. And maybe on MD we can just do opacity 100. This is gonna help us also center the bakery now, because it has some extra space here. Let's see. Yes, when you change it, it's gonna show up. It is going to be hidden. I don't know why this position is changing. Oh yeah, it's changing because the icon is adding here, has been added. But yeah, for now it works well. We can still work a bit on centering the bakery, but this, don't forget that this could be absolute and in the middle of the screen at any time, so we can change this at any point to position absolute and align it in the middle. Let's go ahead and add the slider and make this a slider exactly like we see it here. So we can just slide around with different photos and texts. The first thing we like to do, actually let's go back and fix some stuff. For example, we will going to remove this icon here because it's not going to help us when we change the overlay, and it's actually the wrong icon. We can actually add another icon later when we have the right one, but for now we will need to remove this and move along without it. Just keep those two here. And one thing we can do is actually work a bit on the mouse over first before we do the slider of the mouse over of the menu. So first we could make the menu, which is this one, make it absolute. And of course it's going to appear like this because it doesn't have width. We can say full width. This is 100%. Nice. And now we need to give it a background white on mouse over, exactly like here. And as you can see here, now it's white. You cannot see anything else though. And the next thing will be to do this only on mouse over, which means over background white. And when I do mouse over, the background is becoming white. We can see that also here there is no padding on the bottom, only on top. So I'm going to add some padding both sides. Nice. And we can also add a transition to this, which will be transition. And could be a duration of 500 with ease in out. And now we're going to have this smooth transition. Also, if we want to change the rest to black, we can also say that this is a group. And this means that I can go here, for example, to the logo and say when I have group over, then I want this to be text black. If we check it now, it's going to be black when I have over on the parent, on the group. The same could be for the rest. I can also copy this and add it here. Text white, group over text black. And I could actually go back and copy the transitions, both here and here, and see the difference. Only the menu left. You can go back here. We have to add it to each one of them and do the background instead of text for those, and this one will be the text. So let's go and add group over bg black. Copy this, paste here and here. And the same, but with text, we can add it here. Group over text black and save it. So you see that the transition is smooth and nice, and you can also play around with duration or with the effect, like is in, linear, is out, is in, out, or some custom ones. So now that we have this part done, let's move to the slider. We're going to use our favorite slider that we've done in a previous video. This is Swiper.js, and let's see how we install it. Get started. We get the CSS, minified one, only the link, and we go into CodePen. This is the way we add files. CodePen, save. And we can go also to JS and say here Swiper. It knows the library, so it's going to find it instantly. So now we have HTML, we have CSS and JS, and we go in and take, let's take the HTML structure first. Go in here. This is the banner, we add it after. And we don't need the scroll bar now. We can keep navigation, pagination. I think actually that We don't need pagination on small devices, so I will hide it from small devices after. And for the slides, we'll just keep 2 slides for now. So let's take all of the information we have, like our banner, this one. I know I see a problem beforehand. I see a problem here. Looks like something is not closing correctly or something opened wrongly. I will remove this and we'll see if we find out afterwards what is the problem here. Maybe we forgot something back. No, looks like it's okay. So take this one and paste it in here. Okay, and this is gonna take the text and put it inside the slider. You see the slider is a bit broken here. And also let's take button div. We have this PQ, this is the logo, this is the menu. We have also the background here. Take the background off and we paste it inside the slides. So now we don't have any background at the moment. One thing we should do is go to our container and give it a relative, and of course the screen height. You see that it's getting a bit messed up. So let's just debug it and see what's going on here. We have this button, we have logo, we have icons, button text. First bed we deliver 30 minutes up now. First bed, so it looks like we have this twice. We don't need this twice. Maybe I copy it. I have to remove it from here. And then we have swiper, wrapper, slide. Okay, let's start the HTML is here, but we need to also start the JavaScript. Let's go into the other website, copy the JavaScript, doing it, paste it here. Can remove the scroll bar for now. You can even remove the direction. Okay, we have the 2 slides, we have the menu, but something is going wrong and we need to figure this out. We have probably some div is not closing. Okay, this is closing here. This div is never closing, so this is the problem. Now this div is closing too. This is the menu. This is the slider, yes, and this is a section we have. So all of the divs are closing now correctly, and you see the result. One thing we can quickly fix is that the menu at the moment is on the back of the background. The background is in front. We can actually add some z index. Position absolute. We can add it after this. Z index 10. This is gonna move the menu in the front, like this exactly. Now we have the arrows, we have the slides, you see they're already working. We have everything we had before. You can also add the shop now, some over, as we have right here. So we go to the button and we do over text black and over bg white. Yes, exactly, this is what we need. And we could also make those arrows, as you can see here. The arrows are only shown when you mouse over on the website. For now we can just make them white and continue with the rest. We cannot put Tailwind CSS here because it's been overwritten by the plugins CSS, so we have to use our own CSS here. Let's do I think this is a text color, so we can just do color white or FFF, and it should change exactly like this. So if you go also on a smaller size, you'll be able to see the dots down here. Yes, let's fix that, because the dots on this website are not the same. I'm gonna go on mobile size and see the difference. The dots are different, of course the arrows are different, but now we're gonna focus on the dots. And pagination is here. Actually, pagination has should have something more inside it. Let's have a look. Okay, as I can see, pagination, if you check the HTML, has some children that called bullets, and we're going to add some CSS to those bullets. This is the bullet, and the other one, we also have CSS for the active one. The active one should be bullet/active, and this is always like the blue. For now, the blue can have a background white, so you can see the change. Exactly, and in general, all of the bullets will have background transparent. We want to override the CSS they have at the moment. They will have a border of 2 pixel solid and white. We can tell them to have opacity 1, because you see the one is not showing correctly here. And of course we can make them a bit larger or bigger. Okay, this is a bit too big, but we can also see that it's not really changing, so there should be a problem there with that. Background with heavier border, this is the problem. The border doesn't have pixel, doesn't S. Yeah, now you can actually see them, and should be very close to what we see here. Okay, maybe a little smaller, but it's okay, we can keep it like this. And next step, we can actually also add a second slide. We can go right here, have this information, we can copy them to another slide, and we can change it and say since 2000, for example. So now we don't really have to change that. I can also give you another photo. You can copy this from my file after. So I'm gonna paste the photo here, save. We can check. Yeah, so now we have a slider, we have different photos, and it's something that can work well on any size. And anyway, we have some transitions. Header, we're using Tailwind CSS to make all this happen. Of course, you can use your custom CSS, and if you're a beginner, you better use your custom CSS rather than Tailwind. But yeah, that's a very quick and easy way to create something very beautiful and very close to Shopify standards or other standards. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Please write below in the comment about your process and what you've done. Show me your code pen links, and I can also review them. And yeah, till the next video, please like, subscribe if you like the videos, and see you in the next one.